So this is my garage that I built about, it's been about 4 years now. And this thing is what I call my lab. Here's the thing, when I built this shop, I did a lot of research and coming up with the right size for the amount of boats and the stuff that I had. Here we are 4 years later and I have outgrown this shop. My shop is a 24 by 36. I keep both of my boats inside of the shop. My Falcon, which is a 20-foot long boat, as well as my G3 boat, which is a 17-foot boat. Now, here's the proposed additions that I would like to add to my shop. The first addition I would like to add is a concrete driveway. The second addition I would like to add is a 10 by 20 air conditioning section complete with a walkway and landscaping. So to finish the project off, I would love to finish it out with nice fresh landscaping, including sod with my entire backyard. So for this video, we're going to talk about the correct sod and the sod you should select for your project at home. Hey, so today we're actually at the sod farm that I used to order my sod from when I was running my landscaping company before I turned professional fisherman. So I want you to get three things from this video. I want you to understand what is sod, okay? I'm gonna show you exactly what that is for you guys that may not know what sod actually is. Secondly, I want you to know how it's made. You're gonna see the process from a sprig of grass, literally just a sprig of grass, all the way to a full sod field, how they harvest the sod and get it delivered to your properties. And thirdly, I want you to know what is the correct sod species for your property. What sod species is going to be the best for maintenance, for your property, the environment where you live, and it's going to make your yard to look the best. So you can see there's like acres and acres and acres of literally just turf grass all around me. All right, so let's start out with a very basic question here. What is sod? Sod is nothing but some type of turf grass, whether it be zoysia, fescue, Bermuda, whatever the grass is, a thin layer of grass held together by its root system and just a little bit of soil. That's all it is. So basically what we're talking about is grass that's rolled out like carpet. Pallets right here on the back of the harvester. As they come off the belt, we'll unload them and stack them like they need to. He's wrapping the sod. What do they call that? Just poly wrap? It's just a type of just plastic wrap. He's gonna put that plastic wrap around that pallet of sod. What that does when they're transporting the sod, it just keeps the rolls on the pallet, keep them from spilling out. Martin, how many acres of Palisade would you say y'all have here?
We grow 60 acres of Palisade zoysia.
60 acres. So here's the interesting part. You can see after they've harvested, you see the bare ground that's left, the bare soil that's left. The thing that was always interesting to me, Martin will talk a little bit more about it. They never seed the field again. And so I'm gonna get him to kind of explain it a lot more elaborately than I can. To me, like, there's roots in the ground and it sprouts up, they leave the field alone and it grows again. But he's gonna be able to tell you a lot more specifics about why once they harvest the sod, any kind of warm season grass, why they never have to seed the field again.
A field can either be established by sprigs or seed the first time, but Brian is correct in that after you seed it the first time, it will continually grow back after harvest from a network of roots that remain underneath the soil. So we can generally get at least 10 years out of the life of a field of sod until it just becomes a little bit too slow for profit. And then lots of times we'll change it up with something else for a little while and put it right back. But it's a lot like the hair growing back from your head.
Right,
if you were to shave your head, it'd come right back, and that's a lot how the sod works. So depending on the variety, we can plant or seed and generally have our first crop in about 12 calendar months. And then it will pretty much maintain that 12-month cycle throughout its life.
Here's a perfect example of how the sod field will kind of start to replenish itself. You can see there's a little bit of root system still left in the soil from when the harvester went over this area right here. This is a part of the field that they've already harvested, but you can see there's a lot of roots that are already starting to regenerate in the soil. And by the time the summertime is over, this field will be completely filled with Palisade zoysia, just because the root systems that were sheared off at the surface. Below this soil that you see right here is an entire root system of Palisade zoysia. So one thing you've got to think about when you're trying to install grass on your property is what grass is going to be best for your property. Things that you have to think about and consider. One would be the amount of sunlight. 2 would be the soil type. 3, in my opinion, is how much time do you actually have to spend in your yard? If you don't have a lot of time and you'd really rather be more consumed with your fishing, if you're like me, hunting and other activities with the kids or whatever you've got going on your property, and really and truly mowing and taking care of your property is not the sole focus, I would highly suggest a warm season grass, the zoysias, the Bermudas. If you're that person that really is into fertilizing your yard, mowing your yard a lot, maybe you should look at a cool season grass. If you've got the right soil type and you've got a little bit of shade in your yard, fescue may be the best turf type for you guys. So you really got to consider your soil types. You got to consider what your property actually has. And you've got to consider yourself, because you're the one that's got to take care of it. And if you don't want to take care of it, it's never going to look good. Here's a great example of the differences. You can see right now, warm season grass is dormant. Period of time we're shooting this video is dormant right now. You see the cool season is in full bloom right now. It looks great, it's lush. I wish I could come back and show you this field in, let's say, June or July. You would see the exact opposite. The cool season grass will probably look about as bad as it's ever going to look in June or July, when the warm season grass, the field over here, would probably be totally lusciously green and looking great. That's the difference between the two grasses that most homeowners fight with. So think about that when you're establishing turf in your yard. When you put out warm season sod, it's pretty much over and done with. But conversely, if you decide to use fescue or cool season grass, every year you have to overseed and you have to maintain that property all year long. However, the rewards and the greener grass lasts all year long. Other reason I would suggest sodding your lawn is because you take care of erosion much better with sod. Once you grade that property and you instantly cover it with a layer of soil, roots, and actual turf, if I do get a big rainstorm, I don't have to worry nearly as bad about washing, or as we say in the country, I ain't gonna worry about washing. So this is fescue. Everybody loves fescue. I'm gonna show you why.
We grew 20 acres of fescue sod this year. Here in the low country of South Carolina, we can only keep fescue until about June the 1st.
And then it don't want to be fescue no more, does it?
And it's toast.
Yeah, it's done. So that's one downside to fescue. I think would you agree that it's probably cheaper to establish fescue than it is some of the warmer season grasses, or is it about the same? Or
it would be cheaper and faster to establish.
Yeah.
I mean, you can seed it and have seed emergence in just a few days.
Right now we're in the cool periods of the year. The fescue looks about as good as it's going to look all year. In this area of the country, from pretty much November to about April or so, fescue is at a premium. The downside of fescue is when you get into the warmer months, there's a lot of stress on the grass. It can get a lot of disease. It takes a lot of water, but at the same time, if you get too much water, you get a lot more disease. But it is probably cheaper to establish than some of the warm season grasses, because you can establish it with seed, but you can also sod it. So that's why they have a sod field here of nothing but fescue as well. But that's why I kind of always lean more towards the warm season. Of course, there's always the downside with the warm season of having a brown lawn during the wintertime, because it does go dormant. But one thing you do have to be careful with any type of warm season grass, since it is dormant during the wintertime or whatever the off-growing season is for where you live, you can have some issues with weeds. Since the grass is not actively growing, it just leaves the soil dormant for any kind of weeds or anything that you don't want to grow will try to grow during that time of the year. So during the wintertime, when your grass is dormant, you can keep it weed free. If it's weed free, you don't have to mow it, you don't have to do anything to it. It'll be much easier to take care of, and of course, it just looks better if it doesn't have weeds in it. Folks, I really appreciate you taking time to watch this video today. Be sure and click exmark.com/backyard in the link below. This will give you access to more videos from me and other great Exmark partners.